Hello everyone, this is Liz with EC QuickBooks Training. In today's video, I'm going to go over a list that is in QuickBooks Desktop but not in QuickBooks Online. So let's get started. In the desktop version, there is a list called Other Name List. To access it, you go to List, Other Name List. Now, the way to use this name list is really for the transactions whose payee is not a vendor, customer, or an employee. And I use the other name list for transactions like Chevron, Shell, Arco, or LA Parking, or Burbank Parking, or McDonald's restaurant, or Jack in the Box. You get the idea of what I mean, how to use this list. That way your vendor list is not overwhelmed with these extra payees that they're really not vendors. Your vendors should be your subcontractors, your suppliers, where you buy materials, things like that, places like that. But other name list is really useful for, like I said, payees that are none of those, none customers, none employees, none vendors. And in this in this name area list, you can put some basic information, limited information, like name, phone number, email, if there's an account number, there could be information. You can also convert a name list into a vendor. So let me just show you. Let me save Shell, for example. You can make this a vendor if you want to go back in there and change the type. See, you can change it to a vendor, a customer, or keep it other. Right now, as we're discussing, this is other. You can have notes in here if you want. You can pin. So there's a few things that you can do with other name list. But keep your subcontractors, your suppliers under your vendors. And like I said, just think of ways that you can use the other name list if you do use the desktop version. Now, in QuickBooks Online, there is no other name list. We only have vendors. So I had to come up with an idea of how to really not overwhelm my vendor list. And what I do is I create a vendor, let's say for all gas expense, for all gas stations, I just name it gas expense. And that's what I use. Or for the meals, I use meals expense. If there's a lot of transactions for meals. Same thing with parking. I just use one parking expense. And then I use that vendor for the name of the payee in QuickBooks Online. This helps so my vendor list doesn't get too large and too overwhelming. And then you have maybe you have a vendor from years ago that you went to a gas station and only one single transaction is there. Now, if that is happening in your QuickBooks Online, you can actually merge those transactions into a vendor like that. Let's say, these Bob's Burger joint. What you want to do is click on it, edit the name. Oh, first of all, let me do this. Let me go back and add a vendor. And I'm going to do meals expense. Oops. If I can spell it. Okay, here we go. Meals expense, save. And let's say I have a lot of these vendors and I just don't want to see them. I just don't want to inactivate it. I want to put it all together. So what I want to do is I want to open that vendor and click edit. And then you want to change the name here to go to meals expense. And then save. And it's going to say there are two vendors using the same name. Would you like to merge them? You want to say yes. And then these Bob Burger joints is actually under now meals expense vendor, as you can see here. So that's a way to clean up your vendor list if you find that you have a lot of, small vendors like that or names. And this happens when you go from the desktop version to the online version. If you don't clean up your vendor list before you do that, you'll find a lot of old vendors in your vendor list in QuickBooks Online. So I hope this helps, and please don't forget to subscribe for more how-tos, tips and tricks, and troubleshooting for QuickBooks. I will see you on the next one.